The studio was dead silent for a moment that felt like forever. The cameras were rolling, the audience was holding their breath, and Gavin Newsom leaned forward, his eyes locked on Joe Rogan. "You want the truth, Joe," he said coldly, his voice trembling with restrained fury. "Then let's put it all on the table. Right here, right now." Joe froze, unprepared. The man who had grilled hundreds of guests suddenly found himself speechless. The tension was electric. Millions watching live could feel the shift. And in that one moment, everything changed. It all started when Joe Rogan made a bold statement on his show a week earlier, a statement that went viral overnight. He had accused California's governor, Gavin Newsom, of being out of touch, a Hollywood politician, and someone who cares more about cameras than citizens. Clips flooded social media. Hashtags like Rogan vs Newsom trended for days. Memes mocked, pundits piled on, and the digital firestorm grew. But Gavin didn't respond, not yet. Behind closed doors, though, his team was furious. "Sir, you have to go on air. You can't stay silent," his communications director urged. Newsom sat quietly, looking out the window of his Sacramento office. "When the time is right," he murmured, "I'll speak. But when I do, I won't just defend myself. I'll defend the truth." A week later, the unthinkable happened. Joe Rogan invited Gavin Newsom to appear on The Joe Rogan Experience. The internet exploded. Nobody thought Newsom would accept, but he did. The episode began politely enough. Two men, two mics, two different worlds. Joe started strong, pressing Gavin on California's homeless crisis, taxes, and freedom. His questions were sharp, his tone confident. Gavin listened, calm but intense. Every word Joe said, he absorbed like a sponge. Then, halfway through the conversation, the governor leaned forward. His tone changed. "Joe," he said, "you talk about freedom. But whose freedom are you defending? The loudest voices are the weakest ones." Rogan blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Gavin continued, "it's easy to mock people from a podcast studio. But try standing in front of a family who just lost their home to a wildfire. Try telling them that government is the enemy." Joe shifted in his chair. The air thickened. "See, you're great at pointing fingers," Gavin said, his voice now firm, "but you've never built anything for the people you criticize. You speak for clicks. I work for lives." Joe tried to regain ground. "Governor, I've had people from both sides on this show. I ask hard questions. That's my job." Gavin nodded slowly. "And it's mine to answer them, with facts, not fear." He reached for a stack of papers he'd brought, reports, photos, and data. "You talk about California being broken," he said, sliding the papers across the table, "but let's talk reality." He began reading. 20,000 new housing units built last year. Record investments in renewable energy. Programs that took 100,000 people off the streets. The camera zoomed in. Joe was stunned. Gavin looked straight into the lens. "People deserve truth. Not soundbites. Not viral clips. The truth is hard, it's messy, but it's real." The chat section of the livestream went wild. Half the viewers applauded, the other half argued, but no one could look away. Rogan's usual dominance had cracked. When the show ended, Rogan sat back in silence. The atmosphere was different. Not angry, not awkward, but real. He sighed and said softly, "You know, I didn't expect that. You actually came prepared." Gavin smiled faintly. "Respect comes from being honest, Joe. Even when it's uncomfortable." Joe extended his hand. "Well, I'll give you that." The handshake, caught on camera, went viral within hours. But not because it was political. It was human. Two powerful voices meeting halfway in truth, after clashing at full force. That night, clips of the confrontation flooded TikTok and YouTube. The title, "Gavin Newsom Exposes Joe Rogan on Air," trended at one. But amid the chaos, something deeper emerged. People started commenting not about politics, but about courage. One comment stood out. "Greater than, you don't have to agree with Newsom to respect the way he stood up for himself." Finally, a leader who speaks with backbone. And that was the moment Gavin realized something powerful. It wasn't about winning or losing the debate. It was about showing that truth, when spoken from the heart, always cuts through the noise. In his closing message the next day, Gavin posted on X. Greater than, real strength isn't in shouting the loudest. It's in standing calm when the world tries to shake you. The story of Gavin versus Joe wasn't just about politics, it was a reminder to everyone watching. Right finger, don't let anyone define your truth. Right finger, don't back down when you know you're right. Right finger, and most of all, when you speak, speak with courage. Because in a world full of noise, the calm voice of truth is what people remember most. And that's exactly what Gavin Newsom did. He hit back, not with hate, but with heart.